Hello. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing this. Well, today I will be interviewing my buddy, Jennifer-Ruth Green, and we will be talking about pilot and flying stuff. The first question I'm going to be asking is, how is it like to fly a plane?
Well, first of all, Ivan, I want to say thank you so much for having me today. It's an honor to be on your show. I've seen some of the work that you've done before, and I really appreciate your intellectual questions, and I appreciate how you engage with your guests. So, thank you for letting me be a guest today on your show. How is it flying planes? Well, I would say it's amazing. It is one of the most freeing things ever. Like, there's rarely any traffic. I can talk if I want to. I don't talk if I don't want to. Only when I'm required to, and that's not a lot. And so I have a really good time flying, and it just is so freeing if I had to describe it in one word.
Okay, so when you are flying and stuff, where do you usually like to go?
I usually like to go east of here. So sometimes if I'm flying because I have to go to a destination for work, I do some work in Fort Wayne or down south in Indianapolis sometimes. Those are some destinations, but normally I like to just fly over Indiana. And if I'm taking a long trip, I'll fly down to Kansas City because that's where my sister and brother-in-law live.
Why are you wearing that green pilot suit instead of just regular clothes?
Because you asked me to. This is a flight suit, and it's fire resistant, which means that if it gets caught on fire before it gets really, really hot or catches on fire itself, the material is called Nomex, and it doesn't get as hot or catch on fire as quickly, and it also doesn't stick to your skin. So it in and of itself is a very helpful tool in case there's ever an emergency and there's a fire in the aircraft or something like that.
What inspired you to be a pilot?
Well, there was the Tuskegee Airmen. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they were amazing. They were the first black aviators in the military. And there was a man named Lieutenant Colonel Lee Archer. And he was an original Tuskegee Airman. And I met him at an event when I was at the Air Force Academy. And I saw him and he asked me about flying. And I wasn't considering flying. But then he said to me, if you don't stand on our shoulders, who will? And it was a very easy charge to me to think through that I should consider flying because he spent a lot of time fighting segregation, fighting racism for the opportunity to let black people fly in the military. And so if I had the opportunity, I should probably consider it. And so that's what led me to flying.
What was your childhood like?
I'm the baby of six, and my mom is Filipino, my dad is black. So I grew up in a mixed household, and we had a lot of different languages in the house. And I grew up in a Christian family, and I grew up with a lot of good food, black food and Filipino food. And so I really love my brothers and sister, and I really, really love my family.
So, when you are why did you want to run for Why did you want to run for Congress?
Well, I wanted to run because I felt like our country deserved better than we were getting. And as I was looking at the country, mainly it was very simple. First, God called me. He said, we need Christians in politics, and I want to be obedient to God. And just like we need Christians who are pastors, like we need Christians who are reporters, we need Christians who are pilots, we need Christians who are serving others in government. And so I felt that burden, and then also I saw how the number one leader in our country and the number three leader in our country were fighting one another on national TV. And I thought, you know what? At the end of the day, they fight each other, but other countries look at us and they think we're weak, and they think we're not divided, or they think we're not united, and they see we're unstable, and they see we're weak. And so if they see that and they decide to attack, well, it's nice that these people are fighting, But as a military member, I have to respond to that. And so I have to fight if somebody thinks they're weak and they're intentionally showing weakness. So my thought was we need people who are ready to show strength and ready to understand the role of leaders in the country.
All right. So, when you became a professional at flying, what was it like? Did you enjoy it, and did it just come naturally?
Well, so flying at first was not natural to me. It's kind of like driving a car. You turn left, right, and then you go forward. You don't go backward, but you go up or down. So you add another dimension into the whole thing. So I remember my first flight being really scary, but then when I got certified as a commercial pilot, I remember being really excited because I felt at that moment that I had passed the test and had become a professional, just like the responsibilities gave me. So commercial pilot is a professional pilot, and I felt like a professional at that point. I knew I had a lot to learn, but earning the certificate was very, very exciting for me. And then when I became an instructor pilot, that was another exciting time for me as well.
Have you taught anyone how to fly before?
I have taught several people, like been in the cockpit with them to help, but I have not taken anybody all the way through the syllabus to earn their pilot's license. But I want to. We're doing that and working on that with Missionary Pipeline.
Is there anything you want to improve in your life?
Wow, that's deep. I want to learn to depend on God more.
What are some things in your life that you know God will help you with, or you believe God will help you with?
I want God to help me to continue to grow, to serve Him in politics. So I want to earn the opportunity to be in a position where I can be an influence to people. And then I'm believing God to continue to build other leaders. It's important to me as a leader to build leaders. And I continue to get opportunities by speaking out in various states, various places in Indiana, and just talking to people about what leadership looks like and how to be better leaders. So I enjoy doing that, but I need God to continue to help me.
How old were you when you first became a fighter pilot?
So I'm not a fighter pilot, but when I first became a pilot, I was 22.
You were 22. What is your favorite thing to do while you're flying?
I don't really have a lot of time to do anything other than pay attention to my instruments. So my favorite thing to do is kind of look outside, and we have these really cool maps like this one here. And so this is a map of Indiana, and it's an aeronautical chart, so it's what we use to fly off of. And we are actually right up here, Gary, Indiana. And so looking at the rest of the state, some of these symbols, you can see this yellow here is a city, or this is a runway, and these various pieces, a river, or you can see this body of water here. I like to look at this map and find these shapes as I'm flying by. So that's one thing I like to do.
All right. How many black women are professional pilots across America?
Unfortunately, there are only fewer than 150. And so we've got to do a better job of helping people understand that they too can be pilots. And as a matter of fact, I have something for you today. Tuskegee Airmen, as a Tuskegee Airmen inspired pilot, I've got you your own set of wings, and I hope they encourage you one day.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, this is my final question. If you weren't a pilot, what other thing would you want to do?
If I had one more opportunity to pick any job, I would be a CIA officer.
What is a CIA officer?
Counterintelligence agency. They work foreign affairs to get information so that they can help America do their job.
Okay. And that is the end of my interview.
Thank you. Appreciate your time, Ivan.
No, thank you. And I love you.